Hi YouTube, it's June 16th, 2014, and I don't think I've ever shown you the inside of the Dell. Fully configured is how I had it. And there's a code underneath. Revision A000. Right there. But yeah, so this is what this computer looked like inside with all of its cards. That's because I've had a hell of a week technology-wise, and I'll show you why. And actually, the first thing I want to show you is this. Because literally, when I tried to make this video the first time, my mini DV camera ate a tape. So I'll throw that out of the way. That's because this thing right here, this is that old cheap Codigan power supply. It died. I had it on last weekend. I was doing some video capturing and I noticed that I was starting to get that that burned silicone smell, that burned component smell you get when these things go bad. If you've smelled it before, you know what it smells like. And so I was able to shut the computer down, and everything with it should still work because it was still working even though this thing was dying. So I think I caught it just in time. So here the adventure began. I had to go online and actually buy or find a power supply that would work with this motherboard and all the components that I have with it, because they're all the older 4-pin Molex connectors. And so this is what I wound up finding on Amazon that actually fit the mark. And while this may look like it's a good quality power supply, it's not, and I'll show you why. Here's the inside of that power supply, and if you look really carefully, that empty space in front of you is supposed to be where AC input filtering stage is. Got really cheap caps. Transformers in this thing. This is a 400 watt power supply. The transformers in this thing, the transformers and rectifiers in this thing are actually smaller. I've taken this thing apart, by the way. Getting this open was not very easy because these 4 screws here on the top were all stripped. So it was not difficult getting this thing open at all. But just, really cheap components inside. And I looked them up online, the ratings, and well, for starters, this label here is all a lie. Just all big, huge effing lie. It says that we have two 12-volt rails. I tested that with my multimeter. It's not 2 rails, it's 1 rail. And it's not 14 amps, it's not 15 amps. It's maybe, I'm trying to think here, I'm doing some math. It says 29 total for 12 volts, but I think it'll do safely maybe 20 at the most, if that. It says warranty void if tampered or removed. Well, this thing was tampered already with, so when I opened up the box, so screw the warranty on that one. Oh, and then these are some really thin wires. So before I stuff this into a case, I have a case coming too, but the case is delayed. Oh yeah, and then getting this power supply was also an issue because UPS, for some reason, thought that my address was on the other side of the town, on the other side of the city, so I had to go pick it up in person. So what I'm going to do here today on this video is I'm going to hook this old cheapo piece of crap up to this motherboard, see what it does, measure it, and if not, I may have to go out on the town and go power supply shopping again. Because I completely disassembled this system after I took it apart, I've got to get this re-prepped for the new, or to get the Get the Katana 2 back on here. So I will clean this all off with rubbing alcohol to get a nice shiny surface here. Heat sink. That's actually off camera. Oh well. It's the base of the Katana 2. Actually, I'll wipe that off. That's dry. Little dab will do ya. Socket 478. Let that spread out. It looks like it's spread out fairly. Yeah, that spread out decent. Okay, that's back in place. Now I'm going to get component cards out of the Dell, and I'm going to start prepping those. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get 20 and 4, or my 20 and 4 pins connectors hooked up here. There it is. This is an MSI Pentium VH motherboard. Pentium 4 PC, 3200 RAM, micro ATX, AGP 4.0 and or AGP 2.0 and 3 PCI slots. So over, first thing will be ATI Radeon 9000 with 128 megabytes of RAM. Second thing to come over, I'm trying to think here. I'm going to put a modem in here since that'll clear the, I'll give the fan some room to go in. Video capture card. And the sound card, the PCI 512. And last but not least, well actually, almost not least, let's hook up the CPU fan connector so that works. Ready for hard drives, floppy drives, and whatnot. So actually, many speaking of power supply stories while I do this, I'll regale you all here with the tale of a power supply. Many years ago I had a computer that had a Deer power supply in it. And I can see all the looks on your face right now. And yes, it went supernova on me one night. We had a lightning or a thunderstorm come through. And what had happened was I went to unplug it. I gotta switch these, I can't see what I'm doing here. I gotta switch these over to master because the Dell's cable select and this one is not. But we had a lightning storm and I had to unplug everything because it was really nasty lightning. And so what happened after the storm had passed, I went and I plugged the computer back in, and the act of plugging and unplugging it was enough. And when I hit the power switch, out the back, I actually saw flames up against the wall. And after I opened it up to inspect the carnage, it wasn't pretty. Everything in it that was inside that computer had pretty much went up in smoke, and things like the chips here were pitted out, and I think it actually somehow managed to put 120 volts onto the other side of the power supply, as I was supposed to have 12 volts. And so I had to start over completely with that computer. And that was kind of the genesis of where this system came from. So I've got two hard drives here. Let me look at settings here. Master with slave present. I've got to put this jumper here in the middle. Master with slave, singular master. And then this thing, the 120 gig. Cable select. It is already set in slave, so yeah, that should not hurt it to just have it up there, and that I don't see how it's going to contact anything. That's a SATA power. It don't matter anyways, because even though this power supply says it's 2 rails, it's not. Actually, what I'll do, here's what I'll do. I'll put some newspaper down, and that'll serve to keep any stray currents from going across the places that they're not supposed to. So we'll get the floppy drive hooked up.